when I started, I was more fascinated by the, the, the peace and transcendence dimension, and now I'm becoming more interested in the active dimension.
Uh-huh.
I'm becoming in the creative dimension of the very same principle. And so when I came here today after seeing you for 6 years and hearing so much about the work you're doing, then I was associating my own growing passion for the creative dimension of God, or the creative face of God, and all the work you're doing and the real impact you're having in real time. That's an expression of, I wouldn't say feverish activity, but passionate activity.
Nature keeps different things in different places. It
Mm-hmm.
makes a mango different, a banana different,
Mm-hmm.
an orange different, an apple different. So there is no comparison.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, each individual is so unique, and each individual has been ordained some or certain amount of creativity or certain aspects of nature the creation brings in them. So that's so the, I feel even say somebody may be just making the garden here,
Yeah.
but that gardener is no less than anybody, because he also embodies the total spirit in him, and it comes out in him in that form.
But would you say that that would be true if the gardener was wholeheartedly, unself-consciously, selfishly, passionately, egolessly, with commitment, giving himself
When
to his
he is
gardening? Huh?
when he is free from stress,
Yeah.
and he is joyful,
Mm.
and he is full of connectivity to everybody in the
Yeah.
whole creation.
So when each individual realizes that level of freedom or self-liberation, then their own unique capacity to contribute
Uniqueness,
will express
yes,
itself in its own
in
fullness.
its own form, in
Yeah.
its own fullness, and it need not be the same work an architect does, a gardener
No.
does in a different manner.
So we could call that maybe self-actualization of the individual.
Yeah, yeah, you can call it uniqueness of everybody.
So you know that we're going to this a lot of these questions that we're bringing up, in the next 20, 30, 40 years are going to be are going to become even more important when as we gain this capacity to create life mechanically. A lot of these spiritual and philosophical questions are going to get even more relevant.
Correct, correct.
Hmm?
You see, even all the scientific discoveries, everything that has happened has also come from spirit only.
That's true. That's true.
So, no, no scientist can say that a material thing has created a material thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Right.
to create a material object, a plane or a car, it has happened through the divine only, consciousness.
So the divine has quite a challenge on its hands
Correct, correct.
in order to protect itself from its own divine creativity.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. If you see, interestingly, in the East, there has never been a conflict between science and spirituality. In one of the
Yeah.
Shastras, said, even if you understand a particle thoroughly, you will be liberated. It's said.
Mm.
So, knowledge of an atom
Mm.
can liberate you,
Mm.
because you think that is what everything is, that is what this body is, that is where the mind is coming, that's where the emotions are. You will see everything inside you in terms of just waves or atoms.
As the
Then,
manifestation of spirit. Mm.
so even a particular atom, knowledge of it, thorough knowledge of it, brings liberation. So materialism and spiritualism was never in a conflict here in the East, because the matter is only an expression of spirit.
But it is in the West for sure.
Yes, West it
Mm.
has been. But slowly East also is imbibing a lot from the West.
Oh yeah. As
Right, Rilla?
well as India becomes wealthy and as the middle class grows and grows, that exactly that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So a lot has to happen in a very short time. We have to evolve and develop and create
Absolutely.
a new context, a new spiritual context that doesn't exist. You must feel that as a challenge in your own country, because you're serving that function. I know in other places in the world, but especially in your own country, you must feel that challenge.
With the youths, you mean?
Well, with the youth, but in other words, as India begins to gain wealth, and more of the wealthier classes get more educated, then India's running into a lot of the same problems that the West has been struggling with now for
No, that's correct.
the last 50
that's
years.
Correct. But fortunately, in India, still there is that, philosophy is still ingrained.
Mm-hmm.
This who am I question,
Mm-hmm.
what am I, who am I, this thing. It's still there, though it's almost, it's going to the background.
Yeah,
But still the roots is there.
But the going to the background is going to increase as the world changes. For example, as India becomes a wealthy and powerful country,
Yeah, you're right.
the shift is going to happen very quickly.
Correct.
So
It is not as much as becoming wealthy and powerful, it is more imitating what is not there. original
mediating,
thing. Imitating.
imitating what is not there.
Yeah.
But they say that India and China in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years are going to become the two world powers,
Yeah.
the new world powers. And with every new development, with every new level development, it's always a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Correct. Correct.
And even in this notion of interfaith, which means the faiths coming together. So I think two things have to happen, because I went to the World Parliament of Religions in Barcelona a year and a half ago. And so many people were telling me that, first of all the religious leaders, or most of the religious leaders that went to the World Parliament, were not the leaders that needed to be there, because they were already the most progressive thinkers. They said that the biggest problems didn't have to do with the most progressive thinkers from all the faiths coming together, but it had to do with the faiths within themselves coming together, between the conservative faction and the most progressive faction. They said this is where the biggest or the greatest conflict was actually happening.
Correct.
But that being said, with interfaith, the faiths can come together and begin to trust each other and maybe begin to work together. But I think there's something else that needs to happen, is not only do the different faiths have to come together, but we have to find a way to also move forward together
Correct.
into the future.
Correct. And also we had to identify those elements who are more fanatical and
Yeah.
fundamentalist, and bring a change in their mindset.
Well, that's
Like the born agains in US.
yeah.
They think only they go to heaven.
That's right. We're all going to go to hell.
Or the jihadi groups.
Yeah.
These certain groups. We have done some work in this direction.
I heard that you had. I was told that you had been visiting with some fundamentalist fighters in Kashmir.
Correct. We could transform nearly about 750 of those people.
That's
who
very
were
impressive.
completely in extreme, were into gun culture.
Huh?
Who were into gun culture.
Yeah. That's miraculous.
Yeah. Are they all very cold? చల్లిగా ఉందా? You want to go inside? లోపల చేస్తామా? అడగండి. These are all the boys, youth leaders from different villages from Andhra Pradesh. I give them 1 week for each of the state. So each week these youths come.
Oh.
They go and transform their village, make them free of alcohol, cleanliness campaign, medical campaign. And they try to resolve all the conflicts locally. Many court cases, people, land disputes, and then water, this and that. So they resolve all that and bring people together and they meditate together. They teach meditation.
They teach meditation. And conflict resolution.
conflict resolution, and chemical free farming, organic farming. They are into that, and suicidal tendencies and depression. These also they handle. Trauma relief, help them out of those things. Violence free society is what we should aim at this moment.
Violence-free world, you mean?
World.
So in order for that to happen, we all have to realize that we're part of one
One
brotherhood,
big-
right?
yes.
One being, one process.
Absolutely, absolutely.